Is this a conflict of recent development, Commander?
No. We discussed it from the time we were first married.
Mm-hmm. You work at the supply center, do you not?
I do.
As does your wife.
Yes.
Lieutenant Corbett was also assigned to supply.
Yes.
Is it true that your wife and Lieutenant Corbett worked rather closely together?
I believe so.
The chronology of the situation strikes me as interesting, Commander. For something like 5 years, you and your wife stay together, despite a conflict of interests over whether she should or should not resign from the Navy. Then 3 months ago, Lieutenant Corbett arrives at this station and is assigned to supply, where his work brings him in close contact with your wife. And then, 2 months ago, you and your wife decide to separate. Isn't it true that the developing relationship between your wife and Lieutenant Corbett contributed to that situation and separation?
That is a lie.
Is it not true, Commander Boone, that your wife had already made a romantic relationship with Lieutenant Corbett weeks before she killed him?
No!
No further questions.
Yes, sir. I've known Kit Boone for quite some time. But she was different that night. Now, by that I mean, Kit is a very private person. She works on dignity. And it must have been something very special to make her act that way.
You mean something upsetting?
Yes, sir, I think so.
Would you have any idea what that might be?
Yes, sir, I think I do. I believe she was upset over her separation from Commander Boone.
But they'd already been separated for several months. Why would she pick this particular evening to be upset?
Well, I think it just finally caught up to her. Those were very rough months on Kit.
After leaving the officers' club that evening, Lieutenant Boone and Lieutenant Corbett accompanied you and Miss Davis to your home, is that correct?
Yes.
What was her behavior at your home? Was she equally outgoing?
No, by the time we got to my place, she was fairly quiet.
Was she intoxicated?
No, sir.
What was her attitude toward Lieutenant Corbett by then?
She was cool, on top of the situation. She was back to being Kit.
And how long did they stay at your home, Mr. Porter?
Well, let's see. They went for a dip while I packed. All in all, they were at my place about an hour.
Thank you, Mr. Porter. No more questions. Your witness, Commander.
Mr. Porter, you and Miss Davis aren't married.
No.
Nonetheless, Miss Davis shares your residence with you, does she not?
Yes.
How long have you been living in this state, Mr. Porter?
Objection, Your Honor. Irrelevant.
Sustained.
Mr. Porter, wouldn't you say the nights get pretty chilly this time of year?
Yes, I would say that.
And yet your guests took a late night dip in your pool. Did they bring their ice skates?
I keep my pool heated.
Uh-huh. Then they brought along their swimsuits.
I don't think so.
Oh? Oh, well, then you and Miss Davis provided them with swimsuits. Isn't that right?
I don't believe so.
Mr. Porter, you did see Lieutenant Boone and Lieutenant Corbett in your pool, did you not?
Yes.
And they were properly attired, were they not?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
You don't remember if their clothes were soaking wet when they left your house, Mr. Porter?
No.
In actual fact, they were swimming in the nude, weren't they, Mr. Porter?
I don't know.
In actual fact, the accused thought no more of swimming in the nude with Lieutenant Corbett than she did of spending the night with him in her own home.
Objection.
Overruled.
Kid. Excuse us. What happened back at that pool? Were you in the nude?
Yes. But nothing happened. We took off our clothes and jumped in the pool. It doesn't mean we made love that night.
I believe you. It's just that the way it came out back there doesn't do us much good. It's gonna be all right. I saw Hardy back there. Why won't you talk to him?
I don't know. I guess I'm just not ready.
Still in love with him, aren't you? Am I in your way?
Boy, this is better than a porno movie.
What do you think of Kid Boone?
Oh, she's a lovely girl, except for that one little blight on her record. Murder.
You're not much help.
Kit Boone wouldn't hurt a fly unless provoked by an extreme case of aggravated assault.
That's absolutely right. The defendant exercised nothing more than reasonable and prudent force in protecting herself against the infliction of grievous bodily harm.
Very good. You two may take over. I'm going to take a shower.
Mildred, what are you making for breakfast?
Bacon and eggs.
Ah, that's what I smell. The bacon.
The bacon is burning.
Hello? No, I'm sorry, I can't come to the phone. He just got in the shower. Maybe I can help you. What? Hold on a second. Okay.
$1.89 a pound. You should be ashamed of yourself.
You're sure about that? Okay, well, I sure appreciate all the help you've given me. Yeah, okay, if we're ever out that way, right. Okay, bye-bye.
Who was that?
That was the caretaker at the Pleasant View Cemetery in Grinnell, Iowa.
He called you?
No, I called him. Before that, I called the record section at the base, and before that, Joanne Nelson called you, but you were in the shower and couldn't talk, so I just took it upon myself to do a little investigating.
A little investigating of what?
Well, it's really kind of strange. Joanne Nelson wanted to send some flowers to Lieutenant Corbett's grave. So she called the record section at the base and she asked where he was buried. And they told her he was buried in his hometown, Grinnell, Iowa. So when she went to send the flowers, they told her no such person was buried there. That's why she called you. She thought maybe you would know where he was buried.
Which I don't.
Well, that's what I figured. So I took it upon myself to call the record section at the base and do a little double checking.
Using my name as your authority, of course.
Oh, naturally. You know what they told me? The same Pleasant View Cemetery in the same Grinnell, Iowa.
The caretaker of said establishment you then took upon yourself to call. Long distance.
Mac, Joanne Nelson was right. Lieutenant Corbett is not buried there. You know what the caretaker said? He said he's never heard of a Corbett family living in Grinnell, Iowa. Now, he ought to know, don't you think?
Probably just a clerical error.
Oh, I think it's kind of strange, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Commander. Can't do a thing for you without some kind of authorization.
The shipment of a body is not exactly a military secret. Now, what's the problem?
I just can't release that information without an okay from the senior medical officer, sir.
Who's away for the weekend?
Sorry, sir.
I don't know if he's a fanatic for regulations or he's hiding something.
It doesn't matter because I've got it.
What?
I've got the information you were looking for.
Huh?
Lieutenant Corbett's body was shipped to a federal cemetery in Langston, sir. Well, I just peeked at a few clipboards, that's all.
Pretty sneaky.
Sally! What's up, Mac?
I don't know how I got involved in all this, sir, but I seem to be looking for a body. Do you happen to know where Lieutenant Corbett is buried?
Some small town in Iowa, isn't it?
According to his records, yes, sir. He's not buried there.
Well, it's probably some paperwork foul up. I'm sorry I can't help you. Good to see you, Sally. Take it easy, Mac.
Fine officer. Lousy liar.
He didn't even ask you why you were looking for Lieutenant Corbett's grave.
He's covering up something. So is everybody else. Corbett was stationed in San Diego before he was stationed here. Let's go down to San Diego.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Excuse me. What'd you find out?
I checked with the base supply officer, Captain Faraday. Corbett worked for Faraday.
Ooh, that's progress.
Not really. Faraday never met Corbett.
I don't understand.
Corbett was listed on supplies personnel roster, but on detached duty status.
Detached to where?
I checked with records, I checked with personnel. They don't know a thing.
What does that mean?
It could mean that Corbett was never stationed on this base.
Well, all of this makes absolutely no sense at all.
I have one more stop to make. Are you okay here?
Sure.
What's the score?
14-3.
Oh!
Him.
Oh.
Ready?
Here it is, sir. Lieutenant Donald Corbett, 1516 July.
Listed as a transient. Do you remember it all?
Sorry, sir, I wasn't even working here last July.
Thank you.
Sir? Major Antonio.
How do you do?
Hi. I knew Corbett back in Hawaii, and the last I heard he was in San Francisco. Well, you might check up there.
Don Corbett is dead.
How did it happen?
A shooting accident. How well did you know him?
Pretty well. We roomed together.
Who was he working for back in Hawaii? Major, it's important. I'm investigating his murder.
Well, I don't suppose it matters much now. Corbett was with NIS, Naval Investigative Service.
May I have a word with you, sir?
Oh, Mac, I want you to meet George Pauling. George, this is Commander McMILLAN.
How do you do?
How are you?
Sir, if you have a minute.
Sit down. Mac, as a matter of fact, George and I were just talking about you.
I think you might like to hear what I have to say.
George can hear anything you have to say.
Very well. I'd like to know why I've been kept in the dark about Lieutenant Corbett. Why didn't you tell me it was with the NIS?
I know that you went down to San Diego, Commander. I didn't know you'd got that far.
George is the head of the NIS here on the base, Mac.
I don't know whether I'm a rabbit or a dog, but I want an explanation.
Corbett was with the NIS, of course. We brought him down here to investigate a series of burglaries at the base over the past year. We put him in supply because someone there in supply was feeding the thieves with precise information. Bills of lading, warehousing locations, arrival dates, methods of shipment.
How did my client come into this? Is she a suspect?
One of several.
Is that why Corbett was dating her?
Mm-hmm.
Then you think she was working with the thieves. Found out Corbett was with the NIS and murdered him.
That's what it looks like, Commander.
But you're not sure?
Corbett contacted me a couple of days before he was killed. He said that he was zeroing in on the informer. I have to assume that he was talking about Lieutenant Boone.
Then, gentlemen, you got nothing. Unless Lieutenant Boone loses the case. Then what you'll have is somebody to squeeze. Dangle a prison sentence over her head until she tells all the people involved.
You're in the business, Commissioner. What would you do?
I'm not in that business. And right now, I'm the defense counsel. Is that why you put me up against somebody like Campbell, to make sure she'd lose?
Come on, Mac. The situation is all fouled up, but there's no conspiracy involved.
Is there another name for it?
I want to make one thing straight, Mac. Before you came on the scene, I made the usual option for Campbell. Government or defense. He chose trial counsel because he always chooses TC. And if you're pushing conspiracy, just chew on the fact that Campbell doesn't know what you know about Corbett.
I'm sorry.
Sustained. Oh, everything's all messed up around here, Mac.
NIS thinks she killed him because she was involved in the burglaries. There's also the possibility that she knew nothing of the burglaries and that she indeed killed him in self-defense. Now, how do I defend her?
Go straight down the line with her, Mac. Play it like this meeting here never took place. It's the only way.
Let me repeat that, Commander. As far as government security is concerned, this meeting never took place.
We are not supposed to mangle justice. We're supposed to preserve it. You two have your jobs. I have mine. And right now, I'm going to defend my client. If I have to repeat every word from this meeting.
Commander McMILLAN?
Yes?
Sir, my name is Luis Nunez. I'm the bartender here.
Yes?
Sir, I've been to trial several times. And each time I thought I should talk to you.
Go on.
Well, I was here that night, sir. And I saw something at the trial that no one mentioned.
Saw something? The night of the murder?
Yes, sir. I saw Commander Boone here in the club. He and Lieutenant Boone were having a terrible argument. He was furious, shouting at her. But she didn't say anything. She was trying not to cry. And then the commander hit his wife, sir. Very hard across the face. Lieutenant Corbett came over and tried to be a gentleman, but he was drunk. So the commander just pushed him aside and left.
Luis, would it be all right if I got back to you?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Well, did you find Captain Stiles?
I certainly did.
What'd you say about Corbett being involved with Navy intelligence?
He affirmed it. And there's a lot more.
Mac, for the first time in my life, I am more tired than I am curious. You can just tell me about it in the morning. Home, James.
Sally.
No.
Just one more stop, I promise.
No.
Then I'll tell you about the argument.
What argument?
There wasn't any argument. You must be mistaken.
Oh, kid, somebody saw the two of you. Saw Harley haul off and smack you in the mouth.
It's too complex.
Go ahead.
No, you don't know. You don't understand. It's too complicated. It's too difficult. Oh, well. I knew I'd have to tell you sooner or later, though.
Tell me what?
I lied to you. I lied to everybody. It didn't happen the way you think. After Don and I got back to the house that night, he did make a few passes, but he didn't attack me. Even if it was in his nature, he was too tired. He said he'd only had one drink, but it must have hit him pretty hard. He fell asleep on the sofa. I tried to awaken him, but it was useless. There wasn't anything else to do, so I went into my bedroom, got into my nightgown, and went to sleep. It must have been an hour or so later. I was fast asleep. And then there was a noise, like a car backfiring. When I went into the living room, Don was on the floor. He'd been shot. And a man was running out the front door. A man in a uniform, a Navy officer. It was Harley.
Why didn't you bring this out before?
Remember you said I still loved him?
Of course I do.
I do. Oh, Mac, he was so desperately jealous of Don. That's why he came to the club that night. That's why he was so furious with me. Don't you see, in a way, I am responsible for Don Corbett's death. That's why I wanted to protect Harley. He killed him for me.
So you decide to take the blame. You take off your nightgown, you put on your uniform, tear it up a little bit, mess up this living room, put fingerprints on the gun.
Don was dead. Nothing could hurt him anymore. And I thought if I cried rape, well, at least I could protect Harley.
Don't you realize you're protecting a murderer?
Yes, it was tearing me apart. That's why I couldn't face him.
Sally, I know how tired you are, but I've got to make one.
Why are we stopping?
Just waiting for the light to change.
Saw Kit. Said all the wrong things. Acted about as stupidly as a jealous husband could act.
Thank you.
I slapped her. I'm less proud of that than anything that's ever happened between us. So, I don't blame her if she doesn't want to see me anymore, if that answers your question.
Kit says there's a lot more to it than that. A lot more. She says you killed Don Corbett. She's changed her story, Commander. No rape attempt. No self-defense. She said she caught a glimpse of a man running out the door. She says it was you.
That is incredible. Why would she say something like that?
I thought you might know.
I don't know. The whole thing is an insane lie. Why would she say something like that? Why would she do that? Does she hate me that much?
According to Kit, it's the other way around. Took the blame to protect you.
Until now, suddenly she's stopped protecting me. Is that right?
She claims she can't live with it any longer.
No, it's got to be the trial. She must figure she doesn't have a chance. Came up with this wild story.
Maybe.
Now, none of this makes any sense. Kit, pulling the trigger on that thing, killing another human being. She hated that gun. Wouldn't even let me put bullets in it.
Hey.
Oh, Mac, I've got to get some sleep.
Sleep? You've been asleep for 10 hours.
That all? What are you doing here? You're supposed to be at court.
I worked out a continuance until tomorrow morning. So I want you to close those little eyes and get some rest. I'll be gone all day. Mildred will be gone all day, and the house will be nice and quiet.
What's Mildred doing?
She's out with Enright. They're doing a little job for me.
What kind of a job?
Just checking gun shops, sporting goods stores. We're splitting San Francisco between us. Well, I gotta go. I don't want you to move all day from that bed, you hear? What kept you?
Gun shops? What are we going to be looking for in gun shops?
Bullets.
Bullets? We've got a whole box of them in the dresser drawer.
Not anymore. I ate the last one this morning.
Hi.
Any luck?
Oh, no, sir. That's all bad. I was counting on you.
Well, it's been an interesting day, but what was it all about?
It's an idea I had.
You see, Mildred, we're trying to find anybody who might have bought .35 caliber shells.
And you couldn't find any with all the bullets they sell in this country?
35 caliber's an odd size. Not very many guns use them.
Lieutenant Corbett was killed with a .35 caliber. It's a French Dardanelle.
Ariel, Sally, and Belgium.
Well, the day wasn't a total loss. I saved $500 not buying everything I tried on.
That basis, Sally had an even better day.
Yeah, Denison's must be great. They're twice as large as anybody else.
I don't know. We didn't go to Denison's.
Oh.
Did you cover Denison's?
I thought it was on your list.
Not here.
Not here either.
See you back at the house.
Have you got any money?
Not a dime.
Brian Mosley. Who's Brian Mosley?
I don't know, sir. Sounds familiar, though. Brian Mosley. Wait a minute. Does the name Benny Carr mean anything to you, sir?
Sure. Small-time loser.
He's Brian Mosley. That's one of the half-dozen aliases that Benny Carr uses.
Do you think you can put your hands on him?
I think so, sir.
Let's go.
Hey, come on, come on! I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm not just talking about a parole violation, Benny.
You come on, Benny. One of those bullets killed somebody.
Now, what are you trying to pull? I never used a piece of my life.
If you didn't do it, then you better start talking.
All right. I bought these .35 calibers. Some guy I never seen before gave me $50 to pick them up. So I made me an easy 50. That's all I know.
You must be getting old, Benny. You don't even lie good.
Come on, Benny. We're waiting.
Vince Wagner. But I don't know what he used them for. I swear it.
Vince Wagner. Isn't he in the grand theft business?
The last I heard, sir.
Yeah. I got a hunch he's pretty busy these days. What about it, Benny?
How would I know? I told you.
He's been knocking off the Navy at Treasure Island, isn't that right? Sure, you know all about it. Look at the look on his face. I bet you've been in on some of those jobs.
Hey, give me a break, will you? Something for something. What do you say?
Go on.
Maybe I've been in on one job. I swear it. One job.
Something for something, Benny.
Wagner's going to pull off another one. Tonight.
Sir, he should have been here almost an hour ago.
How reliable is that man you picked up?
Carr is very unreliable. I just hope he was scared enough to tell the truth.
It's cold enough to freeze meat in here.
Mac.
Boxes there. All right, police, drop your guns. You're covered.
You're under arrest.
Ten more minutes and the old man's gonna blow his top.
Think he's up to something?
McMILLAN? I think he got smart. Took off for Alaska.
Your Honor, I'm Sally McMillan, and my husband asked me to tell you that he'll be arriving shortly, and he regrets any inconvenience to the court.
Would it be presumptuous to ask where Commander McMillan is right now?
No, Your Honor, it wouldn't be presumptuous. It's just that it might be a little bit embarrassing. He's in the men's room putting on his uniform.
My apologies, Your Honor. I've been unavoidably detained.
The next time this happens, Commander, you will be unavoidably charged with contempt. This court will come to order.
All persons present when court recessed are now present, Your Honor.
All right, Commander, you may proceed with your case.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense calls Lieutenant Catherine Boone to the stand.
You said I wasn't going to have to testify.
Trust me.
Do you swear that the evidence you shall give in the case now in hearing is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please give your full name, rank, organization, and armed force.
Lieutenant Catherine Boone, Naval Station, San Francisco, United States Navy.
Are you the accused in this case?
Yes, sir.
Lieutenant Boone, is it true that you and Lieutenant Corbett were alone in your house the night he was shot?
Yes, sir, that's true.
And is it also true that he was quite drunk?
Yes, sir.
So drunk that he fell asleep on the sofa in your living room?
Yes, sir.
So drunk that he never threatened you, never attacked you? In fact, the need for self-defense never arose?
Yes, sir, that's true.
And isn't it also true that you did not shoot and you did not kill Lieutenant Corbett?
Yes, sir, that's true.
What's he trying to pull?
I don't know. I think I'll just let him hang himself.
What was that all about?
I don't know. But I'm sure Mac knows what he's doing.
He does?
Commander McMillan, are you aware that your new line serves to undercut the case you've got for the defense?
Yes, Your Honor, I am. However, let me assure the court that this new line of questioning is dictated by newly found evidence and not due to the incompetence of the defense.
Very well.
Your witness, Commander.
Now, let me see if I've got this straight, Lieutenant. You are now saying that Lieutenant Corbett did not attack you on the evening in question?
Yes, sir.
Did not attack you. Does that mean that he did not intimidate you in any way?
Yes, sir. He did not.
Did not threaten you?
He did not.
You had no fear for your physical well-being?
None, sir.
And you did not shoot Lieutenant Corbett?
I did not shoot him, sir.
Then if you did shoot Lieutenant Corbett, it was not because you were defending yourself. Is that correct?
If I had shot Lieutenant Corbett, it might have been because I was defending myself. But I did not shoot him.
No further questions?
Recall Jack Porter to the stand.
Yes, I've known Commander Boone for some time.
Prior to his separation from the accused?
Yes, I've been acquainted with both Commander Boone and his wife for some years.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Porter, would you describe Commander Boone as a man with a jealous nature?
I suppose so, yes.
Subject to fits of rage?
Well, we're all subject to fits of rage on occasion.
I'm talking about Commander Boone, Mr. Porter. Is he a man subject to fits of rage?
I suppose so, yes.
Mr. Porter, did you happen to witness an argument between Commander Boone and his wife in the officers' club the night Lieutenant Corbett was shot?
Yes, I did.
In fact, wasn't it a one-sided argument? A fit of rage on the part of Commander Boone?
Yes, I suppose so.
And isn't it true that this fit of rage was caused by Commander Boone's jealousy of Lieutenant Corbett?
Yes.
And isn't it true that Commander Boone climaxed his argument by slapping his wife across the face?
Yes, that's true.
And isn't it true that Lieutenant Corbett, arriving at the end of the argument, attempted to interfere on Lieutenant Boone's behalf and was roughly shoved aside by her husband?
Yes, that's true.
Mr. Porter, if I were to tell you that Lieutenant Boone did not shoot Lieutenant Corbett, that she indeed had been lying in order to protect somebody, who do you suppose that would be?
I don't know. I'm not sure what you're getting at, Commander.
I'm getting at the fact that someone other than Lieutenant Boone murdered Lieutenant Corbett. No accident, no self-defense, just murder. Who do you suppose that would be?
I don't know.
Oh, I think you do, Mr. Porter. When Lieutenant Boone heard the shot, she rushed out of her bedroom into the living room, just in time to see the killer running out the door. A man wearing the uniform of a Navy commander. A man wearing steel-rimmed glasses. A man of a jealous nature. A man subject to fits of rage. Who do you suppose she saw?
You mean Harley Boone really killed Corbett?
That will be quite enough. Let me admonish those attending this court as spectators. If there are any further outbursts, I will clear this room.
Commander McMILLAN. Mr. Porter, when I asked you who you thought Lieutenant Boone was protecting, you mentioned a name. Would you repeat that name, please?
I said Harley Boone. I also said that I could not believe that he killed Corbett.
I can understand your incredulity, Mr. Porter. The fact is, Lieutenant Boone only thought she saw her husband because that's the way it looked to her. Actually, you killed him. You killed Corbett because you knew he was more than a supply officer. You knew he was an officer of the Naval Investigative Service, and you knew he was onto you. Onto the fact that you were supplying information to a ring of thieves who have been victimizing the Navy for over a year. For days, you've been waiting for the right opportunity to kill Corbett. A murder that would clearly implicate Harley Boone, the same jealous husband who created something of a scene earlier that same evening at the Officers Club. With your friend, Miss Davis, fast asleep back at your own house, you drove to Kit Boone's house and waited. Soon enough, the lights went out. and you waited some more. You knew Kit Boone well enough to remember that she kept a spare key in the mailbox. Getting in was no problem at all. Corbett wasn't a big drinker. He told Kit himself he'd only had one drink. But since you drugged the one he did have, you weren't surprised at all to find him passed out on the sofa. You went right ahead with your plans. As a gun fancier, you examined Harley Boone's souvenir pistol more than once. You knew it was still kept in the desk in the living room. You also knew it was kept empty. But that wasn't a problem either, because you brought your own bullets. All you had to do now was kill Lieutenant Corbett in his sleep. And then wait a few seconds until Kit Boone came running out and saw you leaving. Of course, Kit Boone didn't know it was you. Dressed as you were in the uniform of a Navy commander, wearing steel-framed glasses, she thought it was her husband rushing out of the house. Later, the situation took an unexpected turn, didn't it, Mr. Porter? Lieutenant Boone decided to take the blame for Corbett's death in order to protect her husband. But that didn't matter much, did it? You were still in the clear. Somebody else was on the hook.
Commander McMILLAN, as this is a murder trial, I've allowed you to make these accusations against Mr. Porter. However, at this time, before the witness is required to answer any questions, he must be advised of his rights.
I agree, Your Honor. Mr. Porter should be advised of his rights at the earliest opportunity, inasmuch as he's to be placed under arrest at this time. The base commanding officer has been consulted and has agreed to surrender Mr. Porter to civilian authorities.
Very well. Are such authorities present in this court?
Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to introduce to the court Sergeant Charles Enright, San Francisco Police.
With your permission, Your Honor. Jack Porter, I hereby arrest you on charges of murdering Lieutenant Donald Corbett and on charges of conspiring to grand larceny. It is my duty to tell you that anything you say at this time can be used against you in court.
Under the circumstances, I'm going to grant a continuance until such time as new information concerning this trial has been properly evaluated.
All rise.
Well, Kit? You okay? Commander Campbell, I
could have stopped you, Commander. You were so irregular on this that a second-year law student could have shot you down.
But you didn't.
No. There seems to be some faint chance that your client is innocent.
Commander, while you may be lacking in ability, should the city of San Francisco ever find the need for an attorney, you're hired.
Here we are, milk and cookies for our very own William Jennings Bryan.
William Jennings Bryan lost the biggest case of his career.
Well, maybe he can win on appeal.
Oh, thank you.
You know, Mac, what I've been thinking?
Never.
Kit and Harley Boone. Now that she's not on trial for murder, do you think they're going to get back together?
Harley's already moved back into the house.
Oh, that's great. There is one thing I've been meaning to ask you. That day that we went to all those gun shops all over San Francisco looking for the bullets, what were we looking for?
The killer. You see, Kit mentioned that though her gun was loaded, it had never been fired. Harley Boone said it had never been loaded, so one of them was lying.
And you thought it was Kit, right?
Well, it looked that way. And there was another cloud over her head, beside murder.
Well, yeah, they still suspected her for burglary.
Right, and as it turned out, she was lying to protect Harley. Tracking down those bullets turned out to be a lucky break. They led me to Vince Wagner, the man behind all the burglaries, and he led me to Jack Porter.
Jack Porter didn't buy the bullets because he knew his name would appear on the registration book.
Right.
How did Porter know that Corbett was involved with the NIS?
I was wondering about that myself till a couple of hours ago. Porter broke down and gave his statement. A week before Corbett was murdered, he and Kit went over to Porter's house for a Sunday afternoon barbecue. Porter was in the kitchen mixing a pitcher of sangria. The others were in the pool. The phone rang. It was Vince Wagner. He needed some information that Porter kept under lock and key in his bedroom. Just as he left the kitchen, Corbett wandered in, dripping wet. He was looking for the sangria, but then he must have noticed the phone off the hook. He probably started to hang it up, then couldn't help overhearing some of the conversation. What he overheard must have convinced him that Jack Porter was his man. Corbett took the sangria and went out to join the others. When Porter came back in the kitchen, he spotted the tracks, figured out what had happened, realized that Corbett, the new supply officer, was something else.
And that something else was the NIS. And that's why he was murdered.
Exactly.
You know, Kit Boone and Don Corbett. I know it started out because he wanted to keep an eye on Kit, but I think it was turning into something else, especially on Don's part.
You have the unfailing ability to turn everything into a soap opera. I think he was falling for it, too. Are you still here, Mildred?
Well, yeah, I haven't finished your milk and cookies yet.
Why don't you finish them downstairs?
What about you guys?
Sally and I are going to spend a little time doing what most married couples do.
Oh, we gonna watch television?
Say goodnight, Mildred.
Good night, Mildred.
Good night, Mildred.
Now.
You know, I was looking in the TV guide, and there's this great movie on. Where is it? There it is. King Kong meets Mighty Joe Young. You don't want it.